Global youth. What are we talking about? BYIC. What? Well, on this program of Youth Perspective, we will dig deeper and find out about global youth and about BYIC. Welcome to another Youth Perspective. Joining me today to discuss these two initiatives, we have Aturia Moss and Alexandria Scott. I almost called you Sunshine, but welcome, ladies. It's so good to have you here with us discussing youth and youth initiatives in the South Bahamas Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. Before I move to BYIC and what it's all about, I just want to share with our viewers a little something that's happening this weekend, March 16th. Around the world, the initiative in the youth department is all about young people going out and taking part in more community services and assisting other young people and older people alike. Our churches here in New Providence and on the Family Islands, including the North Bahamas Conference, they're all going to be going out dressed in shirts like mine, and I would have liked to show you the back where the back just says "Be the Sermon." We're encouraging everybody to take part in this initiative. This weekend, young people will be all over the streets from the Seventh-day Adventist community. Eleuthera has called and said what they're going to do. They've ordered their t-shirts. Exuma have done the same. And so we're encouraging everybody to take part in this initiative. Go out, help somebody, be there for somebody, counsel somebody. At the end of the day, I'm certain that all of us would feel better about it. We're going to not dress ourselves up in our regular church suits, but we're going to be dressed similar to how I'm dressed right now, in a t-shirt and jeans and some sneakers probably. We're going to do that. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll come back on Youth Perspective and show some more pictures. Show some pictures of how the weekend went. And I hope, it is our hope, that everybody, every church takes part in this event. You know, ladies, God says, or the Bible says somewhere, if you've done this unto the least of my brethren, you've done it even unto me. You know, it says that Christ is going to ask someday, what did you do? He may ask you, what did you do? And Arturia, you're from the Berea Church, and I understand that you're going out. Just talk about what you're doing on the Global Youth Day. What would your church in the Berea in the South do with this particular initiative?
Well, when we heard about Global Youth Day, I think the main idea was to go out in the community and witness and minister to the people in the community. But during our choir practice, the youth and the youth leader decided to, let's start with the household of faith first. So we decided that we would bring in food items and make baskets and carry to the sick and shut-in members of our church and members who we haven't seen in a while. And so we decided to minister to our own first before we actually go out in the community, and we'll be doing that during Sabbath hours.
Okay, so this is going to be an ongoing initiative for you then, if you're doing it to your people first.
Yes.
You'll do it again, and that's what a pastor said to me this afternoon. He said, why don't you continue this and not just make this a one-time
thing
or one-time thing? So that's very good. And I hear that grandson may be going on a basketball court or something.
Yes.
That's good. That's good. So all of our churches are basically involved. Now, I know you came here this afternoon, and you want to talk. You're excited about this program, BYIC. You're one of the coordinators or one of the leaders of this particular group. Why don't you, Arturia, tell us about BYIC? You can tell us when it was started, who are some of the leaders, that sort of stuff, and anything that would be worth sharing about this group. Tell us, first of all, what is or who is BYIC?
Well, BYIC stands for Bahamas Youth Initiative for Christ. It's a movement of young people that started in 2010. And the aim of BYIC, it was actually started by Adventist young people. And BYIC aims to inspire and to equip young people to be ambassadors for Christ, and to spread and finish the work of the gospel, spreading the three angels' message and working in hand with the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And we aim to accomplish this by providing young people with biblical workshops, seminars, encouraging and fostering Christian fellowship, providing network opportunities for the young people, and also nurturing leadership within young persons so they can use their talents and gifts in their respective churches, where they work, anywhere that they go to minister for Christ.
Okay, so you said you're working in, your thing is to work along with the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Yes.
You know, sometimes we hear of groups forming in churches, and then we think that that person is going to leave. I won't call any names of any groups that would have done something like this, but you hear that they're going to leave the church and form probably their own little thing or try to get other persons to leave. Is BYIC, Bahamas Youth Initiative for Christ, can that be considered one of those types of groups who has said that they're working with the church, but is not actually working with the church, is trying to gather or garner support to go out and form some other type of ministry?
No, not at all.
It's not that.
Quite the opposite. BYIC, like I said, aims to equip and to inspire, to encourage, and to motivate young people to work where they are in their churches. And so we're not pulling them from the church, but we just want to give them resources and tools and to educate them to work where they are.
So BYIC would be, are you getting support from your church?
Some churches have been, I can say, more supportive than others. We've had churches in the past who've sponsored young people to come to BYIC. We know that the registration fee is a bit pricey, but the costs
What do you call pricey? Because I need to know.
It's
what is pricey.
It's $105 for day sessions, $150 for sleepover. All meals are included. It's from March 28th to April 1st, and it can be a bit expensive bringing the speakers over, but God has been faithful to us. This is our 4th annual camp meeting, and we've been able to pay all of our expenses for each camp meeting that we've had.
Okay, so my question now, you said we need to get this in perspective. The date. Give us the date again. Let's bring it in perspective now.
March 28th to April 1st.
March 28th to April 1st.
That's the Easter weekend holiday.
That's the Easter holiday weekend. And you know, in Bahamas, in Nassau, the Easter holiday, this Easter holiday can be big. Because the Carifta Championships, not the Carifta Games, the Carifta Championships. I'm going to ask Sunshine to help us there, and what would cause her to want to go to BYIC, but I'm not going to ask you that right now. What would cause her to want to go to BYIC versus going to the Carifta Championships? Now, you said the date is March 28th through to April 1st. Okay. When do you begin on March 28th? What time do I need to show up? Or is there a first night or opening night program?
Registration starts at 4 o'clock in the evening, because if I remember correctly...
That's a holiday?
No, March 28th isn't a holiday.
It's Thursday?
Yeah, it's Thursday.
Okay.
But we decided to start registration a day early, so persons can come in on Thursday evening. Even if they come after work, that's fine, but we'll be set up by 4 o'clock, and it's just registration, getting checked in, getting your...
So you can sleep there from Thursday evening?
Yes, you can sleep there from Thursday evening. Dinner is provided at Thursday evening. And it's just for you to come in, get settled, and we do have an opening ceremony that Thursday evening. But
Okay.
we begin full force from Friday
Friday
morning.
morning. And who are your speakers? You mentioned that God has been faithful to you over these 4 years with bringing in your speakers and being able to pay your bills. Who are your speakers this year? We'll talk about past times, especially when we come to Sunshine, but who are your speakers this year?
This year we have 2 speakers, both of whom are new. Stephen Bohr, who is the director of Unsealed Ministries. He's been featured on 3ABN, and Lance Wilbur, who works with Tekoa Ministries, and he's also being featured on 3ABN as well.
Okay, so they're your 2 main speakers. Who would you have had in the past?
In the past, we would have had Ivor Myers, Philip Sizemore. We would have had Eric Flickinger, Dwayne Lemon, John Lumacang.
Okay.
Are just some of them that
Some of the
we've
persons that you would have had in the
had.
past. Okay, so now we got the date, March 28th through to April 1st. It's sticking with me now. The cost is $150. I'm promoting the cost at $150 because the $105, hey, you want to get out your parents' house for a weekend? Come on. You know, you want to get out your parents' house for a weekend. I'm talking directly to Sunshine now, a young adult, you know, someone who I would have watched grow up as a nice young lady and now as the Pathfinder leader of our church. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sunshine. Congratulations.
Alexandra.
Yes.
It's
You
okay.
know, when her mommy had her, I'm embarrassing her now, and she brought her to church. This is her Sunshine. That was her and Brother Scott's firstborn, and that's her Sunshine. So the name has stuck with you, Sunshine.
Yes.
The name has stuck with you, so I know
Yes.
you're used to it.
It's
I got an
fine.
email today, and in the email, one of your
Sunshine
directors
Scott.
said Sunshine Scott.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I knew who she was talking about, but Sunshine, really, truthfully, is it just a time for you to get out of Brother and Sister Scott's house, or is it a time where you can be refreshed and revived? Be honest with us.
It's the second one.
Okay.
Sure, everyone wants to, a time to be out of the home, right? But it's deeper than that. It's how you mentioned the refresh and be revived. The BYIC program was life-changing for me.
How did you hear about it? Tell us all of that.
Oh, I heard about it through Facebook. I saw a video. So social media is really good in terms of getting the message out there. That's how I heard about it.
Okay.
And then the thing about it, I saw so many young people inside with me talking about BYIC. So I want to know, what is BYIC? You understand? And honestly, I thought it was just like a regular youth program. Now, I don't want to bash the youth programs or anything like that, but
Right.
normally, just you come, you have your praise and worship, and then you have a little talk or something like that, and at the end of the day, you go home, like an AY program. That's what I thought it was, right? And then I heard the young people talking about Ivor Myers, because I came the year after them. And so I went to BYIC expecting just a regular youth program. But trust me, Curtis, it was life. When I say life changing, because I thought my life was together. Honestly. you
Right,
know?
growing up in a nice Christian
Right.
home and
Right.
going to church and taking part all of the time, you would think that, hey, I got this.
Right. But
Okay,
that
and
was
so
an eye-opening experience for me. I've learned so many new things through the BYIC camp, and I've met so many young people who love the Lord and want to do His work. It's hard when it's not hard, but difficult to find young people in your age category that's actually excited about God and doing His work. And so that was one of the interesting things to me that actually draw me to BYIC. And would you believe it, at the end of the program or the youth camp, I was rebaptized.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I got rebaptized. It was April 25th. I remember the date quite. I remember it quite well.
Okay.
But yeah, BYIC is a really nice program, and you mentioned earlier about the Carifta, and now you have BIIC.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think BIIC is way bigger, better benefits at the end of the day, because if you go to Carifta, yeah, it's nice to pull for your country and, you know, support your country, but where does that lead you?
So my age, we won't go on the age, but you could, you know, generally say, since that I know when you were born, you could, you know, assume here, my age category, are we a part, or can we be a part of BYIC?
I would say yes.
You would say yes.
Yes.
What about you, sister coordinator, one of the coordinators? What's the age category that you would encourage then? Because she is thinking of AY, and we've been older persons probably come and be like sponsors and stuff like that. What's the age category? I know that I can come, but what's the age category that you're really trying to cater to?
The age category that we're really trying to target is the young people, 16 to 35.
So I'm 15. What do you do with me?
If you want to come, we'll let you come. I mean, it's just a target, but it's not mandatory that you be within these age group.
Okay, because I've asked that question because, you know, you have some 14-year-olds who can really handle it, who would like something like this, but if you're saying that they're 16, I know in the church when we go to youth programs, we normally say 16 to 30, sometimes 35, but you have parents who come to you and say, my child feels left out. My child, you being a youth leader, assistant youth leader at your church and Pathfinder director at your church, I'm sure you would have heard sometimes, even with the Master Guide program, I hear often persons come and call me, say, Brother Curtis, can my child join the Master Guide program? I say, what age is your child? And then they tell me the child is 15, but they're a big 15, and then, you know, what do you do?
I don't think
Probably a 13 or a 12-year-old. Is that pushing it?
I don't think we should discriminate based on age when it comes to training young people to do God's work. I mean, we had a very young boy at BYIC last year that attended the sessions. He was probably about 11 or 12, and he was answering questions that the speakers posed to him. And I remember him clearly because the speakers were so impressed with his questions and his answers that he gave. And I think when it comes to youth and to ministry, we shouldn't discriminate when it comes to age. Everyone, no matter what age they are, can be a part of this great work.
Yeah, but if you would have designed a program for a certain group, you know, that's something that we could probably toss up in the air and then look at the maturity probably of the person. But I want to get to your theme text, which is the note that was sent to me says from John 15 verse 5 says, I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit, for without me ye can do nothing. When you hear something like that, as a person who is attending, an attendee, what do you think of? How does this fit in? Can this really fit in? I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. What is talking about there? Any of you?
Well, before we get to the theme text, I just want to touch on the theme.
The theme,
Yeah.
okay.
The theme this year for BYIC is in tune with God, staying connected. And one of the reasons why I think we chose this theme is because for the past 3 years, talking with a lot of the young people, they would come to the BYIC programs, camp weekend, and they would get inspired and they would get motivated and they just on fire, you know, they just ready to go there and do God's work and spread the gospel. But the year after that, when we talk to them, you know, we've heard, and they give personal testimonies, they'll say, oh, you know, I kind of fell off, I kind of got disconnected, you know, I lost a little bit of flame. So this year we wanted to center the camp meeting around theme where we can encourage young people to stay connected throughout their spiritual life, to have some consistency within their spiritual life. You know, in the world today, we have so many distractions, internet, Facebook, media, so much things that can pull us away from God. We want our young people to be encouraged to be focused on Christ and focused on things that will benefit their spiritual life. And that's where I think this theme comes in. When we abide in Christ and we abide in Him and we stay focused on the mission that He has for us, there's no way we can go wrong.
Okay, so I'm asking again now that what is or what would be one of the highlights then, either of you can take this one, of, for you, no, let me ask you, for you, what was one of the highlights of your time at BYIC?
Well, my highlight was the Sabbath afternoon and doing the witnessing.
Mm-hmm.
It was like putting what it isn't what.
But don't you do witnessing on a regular basis? Wouldn't you do witnessing ordinarily?
Yes, but it's different when.
How is it different? Tell us how it's different.
Okay, Curtis. This is how it's different.
Yes.
It's different when you actually have your parents with you, like actually going out there, and then I have someone at my age category who could actually, or I don't know how to say it.
Just say, because there's somebody out there needs to know what's so different about you going out there than staying home. Because right now somebody may say, you didn't who? Man, I need that weekend. That's a rest weekend from school. That's a holiday weekend. That's a weekend when over 400 plus, 1,000 plus athletes are going to be in town. I want to go out and see the Carifta Championships. So we have to be able to say what's so different. And you're saying the witnessing on the Sabbath afternoon was just that great that you what? Because one like me, I always found an excuse. I'm sorry. I always found an excuse why I could stay home. Why I could stay home.
In that case, I will think it goes back to the individual's personal relationship with Christ.
Okay.
Because if you have that personal relationship with Christ, or if you desire to have a personal relationship with Christ, witnessing would actually become easier for you. It would be a thrill and a joy to go there and witness. Okay. So, like I mentioned, the witnessing part was that Sabbath afternoon. So I've already went through certain amount of sessions.
Training?
Not training per se.
Okay.
But sessions like hearing different speakers and stuff. So each day I'm learning more and I want to know more. And so by the time we reached to the witnessing part, witnessing was no problem for me. I was actually excited to go there and tell people what I've learned.
All right.
All
right. So it sort of geared you up to this witnessing thing. So you knew you was going to have to go as a part of BYIC on a witnessing trip.
Right.
And so you were geared up after hearing the various. Okay, all right. So, Arturia, there are a number of highlights. I'm sure as you plan, you want every part of the thing to be a highlight. Because I'm not planning any program if everything is on a high, and people get different things, get different feelings from different things, different events. In your opinion, as you plan, what do you want the young people to really experience?
Well, this year, besides every year we go out in the community to witness. So besides that, we have 3 added features to the camp this year. Lance Wilbur is also going to be bringing a health aspect
to the
weekend. So we're going to have exercise exercise sessions.
So
in
when I come now, I gotta exercise too?
yes, you have to exercise.
Are these things
before
mandatory?
devotionals.
I'm asking, are they mandatory?
I believe, if I remember correctly,
Yes.
that exercise.
Especially for the ones that are sleeping 8.
I believe it was optional.
Okay.
I believe. I could be wrong, but I think we decided that it would be optional, the exercise sessions. But that's something we're definitely going to motivate and encourage the young people to do. We're also going to have prayer sessions from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. Looking at some of the experiences that have happened in similar organizations like BYIC that follow the GYC format, the Generation of Youth for Christ format, because that's the format we follow. They also have prayer sessions, and we've been to GYC and we've experienced it, and it was powerful. And people have testimonies coming out of the prayer session, so that's something that we want to include in our camp meeting this weekend.
Okay.
And also we have a youth forum mock trial this weekend at the camp. So normally we would have a Q&A session for the young people where they can ask the speakers. This year we're gonna switch that around, and we're gonna put the young people up on the stand, and it's gonna be in the form of a trial, and the speakers are gonna be asking the young people questions about their faith, so they have to be ready to give an answer for what they believe.
Sunshine, that's going to be very interesting. You know, you mentioned that some of you went to GYC, which is a program of the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, some time back. Did you go on this trip, Sunshine?
Yeah, I went.
And how was it?
It was really nice.
What was different about it? What did you really like about it?
Well, besides, it was basically the same thing like the BYIC camp, but we have here.
Did you go out witnessing too?
Yeah.
Where did you go?
I can't
Where
remember
was the place
exactly.
that you go? Where did you travel to?
Baltimore.
You went to,
If
I
I'm
guess.
correct, it was Baltimore.
Okay.
It was really, really
And
nice.
you went out on the streets in the U.S. witnessing?
Yes, and it was cold.
And it was cold?
Yes, it was cold. But
How
I
many of you
enjoyed
went?
it.
How much was in our group? It was about like 20.
What?
A little over.
A little over.
Yeah.
Okay,
It was a good
so
group.
what did
Besides
you
me.
enjoy about it?
2010, no turning back. The one thing I enjoyed about it was just meeting young people from across the world. And the thing is, before BYIC, I never knew there was a general youth conference for Adventist youth, because I always had friends from the Anglican churches and the Catholic churches that would go on trips where young people all over the world from their churches got together. I never knew that we had one until BYIC was
So
formed.
where have you been all this time?
I don't know.
We travel every year.
I know we have general conference.
No.
But I've
The
never.
Seventh-day Adventist Church. I need to inform you as young people of the Seventh-day Adventist Church and everybody listening. We travel all the time. We put it out there for you. Sometimes you just, you probably
I just
don't.
probably
Oh,
just
Brother
missed
Curtis just sending me another email. I'm not going to read this one today because, But yes, we do travel. We have a number of things coming up in 2014. We don't only go to camps. Like some people say, oh, all they do is go to camp. No, we don't. We travel all over. I've camped in Puerto Rico.
But camp is different from general youth conference.
It's similar, but we do have general youth conferences all over. Sunshine would have been to one in Colombia.
Colombia, yes.
Right?
I went to Colombia.
We this is a every year thing we do. Next year we're going to Guatemala.
Okay.
So we do this. But the one that you would have been to would have been a North American division thing that was instituted by the General Conference. So a lot of those things that are in the U.S. are mainly North America based. And so, yes, but our people travel as far as to China and all of that stuff. We have persons who would have gone to youth conferences. So now that you're aware, just check with your youth leader, and all the time there are trips that are always being planned.
Okay. Okay. So, Generation for Youth for Christ. We went in 2010, and one of the things that I liked about it was that we got to meet young people from all over the world
All over.
who believe the same things that you believe. And one of the things, listen, when I went witnessing in Baltimore, I really appreciated witnessing home here in the Bahamas so much more. And my experiences weren't as bad as some of my other pairs, because some of them came back and it was like, never
Okay,
again.
all right. Well, we know that you guys are going again, but you know this program has, I mean, we've just run out of time, and I just need to say thank you. We're going to encourage our young people to attend Bahamas Youth Initiative. You're wearing your shirts.
Yes.
We're going to encourage our young people. And I should have been wearing my shirt also, but you know, it just slipped me a little, to attend Bahamas Youth Initiative for Christ, held
March 28th.
March 28th to April 1st. Where's the place again?
Bahamas
On the
Youth Camp,
Bahamas
Gladstone
Youth Camp on Gladstone Road. So we're encouraging our young people to get a taste of what BYIC has to offer. And we want to thank you for working with the church as a youth group to encourage other young people to continue to work for the Lord. As we prepare ourselves for heaven, I believe that God really wants us all to find something that we can do to help somebody. One songwriter says, if I can help somebody as I pass through this world, then definitely my life would not be in vain. This has been Youth Perspective. Why don't you link up with us or like us on Facebook and get into our weekly discussions. It's not a daily discussion, as we ask questions and look for answers to those questions. Thank you once again for joining us.